Now, there's good news and bad news on the economics of pay on the basis of gender. When the issue of equal pay first arose, women were making 70 cents on the dollar. According to Newman, women now make 77 cents on the dollar to men. Now, that is progress, but not very good, and pretty slow when you consider that it's been over multiple decades. Newman points out that there are more women in the labor force now than men for the first time in history. Understand, too, that this number of 77 cents on the dollar is relative to how the data is collected and studied. Newman does it by looking at median annual earnings. The Labor Department, at the time of the drafting of this screencast, indicated that women make 78 cents on the dollar. What is quite interesting is that when women enter the labor market in their earlier work years, they are pretty close to parity with their male counterparts. They are at 94% of their earnings. As time goes on, the disparity widens, so that by the time a woman is at retirement, they're at 70% of their male earnings. There is pay difference, too, in work that's associated with women and that which is associated with men. Those are female jobs, where 95% of workers are female. Things like preschool teacher, teacher's assistant, secretary, child care worker. For those, the average weekly wage is $490. Those jobs that are mostly male jobs, where 95% of the workers are male, things like airplane pilot, firefighter, aircraft engine mechanic, plumber, steel workers, the average weekly salary is $948. And the infographics on the right side of the page, these are from the U.S. Department of Labor and were published in 2016. There is a great deal of tension about government assistance. Some question to what degree that assistance isn't just a simple handout that discourages people to find a job and be self-supporting. But if you do the math on the cost of working when you have children, and by that I mean the cost of affordable daycare, and how little money one makes if you're working a minimum wage job, you begin to understand the economic sense of not working if one has to raise a family on low wages. There's a concept that all sociologists are aware of called the feminization of poverty. This is referring to the fact that many that are impoverished and are receiving government assistance are disproportionately women, non-white, and single parents. The reality is that 2/3 of those that are in poverty are children, not adults. They're not of age capable of working. And a highly disproportionate number of those children are in single-parent households. And in the U.S., women are more likely than men to be sole caretakers of children born out of wedlock, and more likely to get custody of children after divorce. The numbers of children in poverty may be larger than you think, too. 1 out of every 4 children in the U.S. lives with only their mother, and 70% of these are poor.